Hello, I'm Richard Morton. This is Wendy Rattel. We're here again to talk about something that we've spent some time putting together as we laugh at that. We talk about creating, but also in a sense of what we do when we retire
Mhm,
and how we look at, we've led a life that's, as Wendy very strongly, we've been governed our entire life to do certain things. And that we can always talk about the obligations and all of the ways we've moved through our life and things like that. But the big piece is when we stop, when we retire, when we look at the identity that we've carried, our identities and labels, probably a whole mirage of them, into this process of work. And many of people have been very, very successful. And, as we talk about retirement, but in a sense of, well, now what do I do? Because I'm so committed to who this person has been. And it may not be what has truly served you inside, but how do we put that down or just put it aside enough that you can look at something else for you that's not that and
mhm.
that deeper connection to you. And we could go into many stories and how that works, but it's connecting from not your head. It's learning to connect with your heart.
Leading with your heart. Yeah. So
It's,
much of what we've done has been, from our heads. And what we've learned over the past little while, both Richard and I, is that when your head takes the information that it has and it creates scenarios. So it is something that it's like a computer in some ways, and it's got all kinds of different pieces of information. And that information is there on the hard drive and it can be pulled. So it becomes a predictor of what is going to happen. It becomes a predictor of scenarios. And for many of us, that's been very, very useful and very helpful over the course of time. And then when we step aside or step out of the predictive roles that we've created, as you do with retirement, it's now what? And we started the series with the now what. So we're cycling back to it again. I talked to a girlfriend the other day and she was going, I don't know. Like she says, I don't know what to do with myself. And I'm like, I have so many things I want to do that you don't know how to fit them all in. So why is there that dichotomy? Why is that such a broad spectrum? So, and both of us are women that have done lots of creative different things. And yet now she's stuck. So maybe Richard can fill a little bit more in on that.
well, I think when we played roles, people have built businesses, have done many things, and never really made time for themselves and what we could say hobbies or other
Hmm.
things that have interest them, and maybe put them aside, and over time you forget what they were.
Hmm.
I've always been an avid reader. Um, Learning other skills now as I've retired, but I love to research. I've always been curious on so many topics and things like that. And why do I feel this way? I'll think about my emotional journey, my physical journey in life, and obviously events tipping that direction as well. But many people again have not exposed themselves. They played again a role, looked good, smelled good, walked good,
Hmm.
talked good, made the money, but at the end, they never really created an identity for themselves and outside that role.
Hmm.
And when you stop and put down the computer or the whatever it was that was in your hands and start to look at what do I do now? It's a journey because you've been so committed to a path that you didn't realize at the end you had to find yourself.
Hmm.
And this is our work in the sense of how we find ourselves, how we put down and how we step away from all, recognize what we're afraid of. If I'm not this identity, I think so many people have fear, like this is what everybody knows me as.
Hmm. Well, and it's also time, giving yourself time to sit and be so that you don't have to be performing. You don't have to, as you just said, you don't have to do what others expect of you. Um, that's one of the other things Dave and I are noticing is that the people that we have hung around with, for 30 or 40 years, him more than me, um, the paths are different in that we have things that we want to do and things that we want to explore and places to go. And we're just starting. and they're finishing. And that's a really weird place to be in. It's like, well, what do you mean you just want to sit down? Like, no, uh-uh. It's like, okay, where can we travel? What can we do? Yeah. You know, what other kind of exercise can we figure out how to do or whatever? Or, it's sunny out. Let's go. Let's
Yeah.
go, hike. Let's go do something. Go for coffee, whatever. Yeah. So it's a very different mindset, but it's also calming the body enough to be able to listen so that you're not living in that fear. It's not like you're boxed, like you're literally stuck and boxed in your house. No, 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 no. So we help to take that fear down so that you can open the door and find out what else is possible.
It unfortunately, you said it's you don't realize how frozen people are,
Mm,
and there's a paralysis there that, and so we help you through the paralysis. You help you, come down the fear, calm the fear down, and start to really look at being curious about yourself through the tools, through the time sweeps, through other
mm,
tools we have, so you can start to embrace who you are. And I made a
mhm.
point of, you don't want you creating for distraction. We want you creating something to embrace
Yeah.
for you because, and I mean, no disrespect to people. We've done all these things thinking we're leading our families. Yes, in many ways.
Mhm,
But this new change for you is also leadership. When you lead for yourself and you find your ways to be, you find your authentic self. And I know that's a catch term, but when you really come down and connect to yourself without all the toys and all the roles you played and start showing up, in ways of just being curious and looking at, other, I mean, there's so much, many hobbies, so many ways we become interested and stimulated at the same time.
mhm,
And not someday now,
mhm.
where
Yeah.
it's going to be travel. It's not when, if not when, then, if it's not now, then when,
Oh,
because
exactly.
this is the role where people fall off and die.
Mhm,
And you've worked your butt off many years, decades to be here.
mhm,
Now this is the time to enjoy, but you have to learn to enjoy yourself
mhm,
and find that peace in yourself. And again, that's the roles we talk about, helping you de-stress from the roles and finding, and stop doing all these other things in your head to learn to really take care of yourself and simple things where, again, one of my clients, when she put down all the roles, what she found that she wanted to be is grandma.
mhm,
Have time for herself, time for self-care and time to be grandma and just enjoy life for the simple pleasures of what it is. And like I said, it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be very, very simple, but it's finding you to do what you want to do, not for everybody else, for yourself.
yeah. And we invite you to reach out to us
Mm.
and let's see what we can explore together. So, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.